In this video we are going to take a closer look at the August Deathwatch tournament results, as well as a quick detour featuring the Nephilim mid-season review and tier list article posted on Goonhammer. Due to the large number of tournaments for this month, the ones covered in greater detail are the Team Battle Brothers singles, the Leeds GT, Tables and Towers August GT, as well as the Salt Lake Open 2022 Major, followed by a few honorable mentions. Over the course of the video, we will go through all the relevant results and lists in an attempt to find out whether the Deathwatch can continue their July tournament success and perhaps win yet another GT. For the final part, I will offer my personal conclusions and a quick wrap up.
Welcome to SwissHammer, your channel for modeling in Warhammer 40k. My name is Tammer, and I will be guiding you through this video.
Before diving right into the tournament results, a quick word on the Nephilim mid-season review and tier list article posted on Goonhammer. As always, I encourage you guys to read the whole article by yourselves in order to make your own opinion on the matter. The link is in the description. In a nutshell, Goonhammer now splits Space Marines into three categories: the good, the medium and the bad Marines. According to them, the good Marines ranked as Tier 2 are Dark Angels, Blood Angels and Iron Hands, while Deathwatch got demoted to medium Marines in Tier 3. To quote directly, Deathwatch Kill Team Strike Force is good, but it's also the only build that ever does well for them and has also declined since Nachmund. The article then further identifies weak secondaries and lack of punching power when compared to the previously three mentioned good Space Marines as the main issues for medium Marines. I will get back to this article in my closing thoughts later in this video. Before that, let's jump right into the first tournament, the Team Battle Brothers Singles, an event featuring 20 players over 5 rounds. Here we have Mark Hertel winning the tournament playing the Deathwatch Army of Renown, going undefeated. Unfortunately, I couldn't access all of the opponent's army lists, but out of the 5 games, at least 2 were against Necrons. Looking at his list, for HQs, he brought the Chief Librarian in Phobos armor, with Fortified with Contempt, Primorphic Resonance, as well as Mantle of Shadow. I think the latter is a great third pick in case points allow for the Chief Librarian upgrade. He also spent a CP on Psychic Mastery. He then also had a Primaris Chaplain on bike with Visorator and the Beacon, as well as a Watchmaster, both go-to picks for any competitive Deathwatch list nowadays. According to his list, he also spent another CP for an extra relic, but I am not seeing an actual selection. Maybe he missed to make the actual pick, or Battlescribe didn't let him for whatever reason. But anyway, for troops, he ran 4 Proteus kill teams, 1 rocking 3 Cyclone Missile Launcher Terminators and 4 Infernus Heavy Bolters. I always love to see the latter, such an iconic and somewhat underrated weapon, though perhaps a bit on the pricey side. 2 other Proteus kill teams were more Terminator-heavy variants of the Costello-style kill team, while the 4th rocked the infamous infantry bikes mixed with the Vanwets. Last but not least, he rocked the Spectre's kill team with 5 Reavers, the cheapest possible way to run them if you don't mind the potential loss of concealed positions when mixing Infiltrators and Reavers. All in all, while still a classic Army of Renown list with the 3 HQs and 5 kill teams, the different approach to these Proteus kill teams is certainly something to take inspiration from. Link to the full list is in the description. And once more, congratulations to the great result. Moving on to the second tournament, the Leeds GT, a larger event with 200 players over 5 rounds. Here we had a full 4 Deathwatch players attending, with both Joseph Waddock and Philip Roebuck taking the Deathwatch lead on ranks 81 and 83, going 3-2, with the best Space Marine player scoring rank 17 with Blood Angels. This still left our 2 Deathwatch players on Space Marine ranks 8 and 9, yet another testimony that Space Marines are not doing too well nowadays. Joseph Waddock played his first game against another Deathwatch player, Christopher Hulston, with the latter bringing a crazy amount of Thunder Hammers along, the highlight here certainly being 10 heavy Thunder Hammers on 10 Vanguard veterans spread across 2 Proteus kill teams. Nonetheless, the victory here went to Joe rather than Christopher Hammerstone. Round 2 was then a loss against Custodes, round 3 and 4 wins against Chaos Knights and Tau, and round 5 a win against Tyranids. Looking at his list, he ran the exact same list as he already played at the best in the East Midlands back in July, basically a slightly modified version of Mikkel Klangby's GT winning list. Not much to say here, link to the full list is in the description, great list, still brings decent results. Then looking at Philip Roebuck's matchups, he lost the first 2 rounds against Nids and Thousand Suns, followed by 3 wins against the Clowns, Tau and Nids. Looking at his list, he ran the classic Triple HQs with the Librarian, Chaplain and the Watchmaster, but then adjusted the rest of the list as following. 1 Indomitor kill team with a mix of Boltstorm Aggressors and Inceptors, 3 Proteus kill teams, 2 of which are Klangby style kill teams, and the third has the 5 Vanguard Vets mixed in, likely to be used with combat squads. Then for the 5th kill team, we have a Spectres with 5 Last Fossil Eliminators and Lord of the Sea, pretty much the most competitive way to run that one at this point. This composition allowed him just about to squeeze in a Rhino, which I assume he runs in combination with the 5 Vets from the last Proteus kill team. Now with Armor of Contempt, a Rhino is actually quite durable for its points, and it can also be used for move blocking or just generally getting around the battlefield faster. Overall, interesting adjustments right there. Moving on to the third tournament, the Tables and Towers August GT, an event featuring 46 players over 5 rounds. Here we have Mike Taylor on rank 17, going 3-2 with the Army of Renown. His matchups were round 1 a loss against Necrons, round 2 a win against Nids, round 3 a win against Knights, round 4 a loss against Blood Angels, and round 5 a win against Sisters. Mike ran an almost exact copy of the tournament-winning list played by Mark Hertel that I covered early in the video, with minor changes to the war gear of 2 Proteus kill teams and adding in Adept of the Codex for that 1 CP that Mark Hertel apparently didn't make use of. Now, back in my War Zone Nephilim review, I did the maths behind using Adept of the Codex with the CP changes, and I strongly advise against doing it unless you can near guarantee that you are going to extremis in the first round, but perhaps that's just what he was planning to do and or he rolled with it anyway. Either way, great to see that Proteus kill team heavy lists are making more frequent appearances after the domination of double Indomitors for these past few months. Moving on to the fourth tournament, the Salt Lake Open 2022 Major, an event featuring 96 players over 6 rounds. Here we have a single Deathwatch player, Lou Rollins, going 4-2 with the Army of Renown and ending up on a very respectable rank 28. For his matchups, round 1 was a loss against Nids, followed by 3 wins against Hail of Doom Space Elves, Chaos Space Marines and Nids, then round 5 a loss against the Clowns, and round 6 a win against Tau. Looking at his list, Lou is certainly one of those players still pushing to innovate in an otherwise stale Deathwatch meta. Going light on HQs, he has a Smash Captain with Thunder Hammer and Eye of the Abiding Relic. The latter helps him to negate the hit penalty on the hammer. This return to Smash characters is interesting, as the meta lists have been shifting towards exclusive buffing characters these past few months. What also stands out is the Primaris Chaplain on bike, bringing the aura increased relic rather than the beacon. While we have seen the Vox pop up in one or the other tournament lists before, the question here is of course how does he manage to keep up with his kill teams? We will get to that in just a moment. Looking at his troops, he has a single for his kill team, with just the 5 intercessors. This is basically one of the classic problems of an Army of Renown list, and how to handle spare points, or just bringing a couple more bodies. You are automatically going to pay a specialism tax on top. But anyway, he then goes with 4 Proteus kill teams, and the majority of them are carrying Deathwatch teleport homers, answering the previous question of how he can do without the beacon and chalice. On the Deathwatch teleport homers, just briefly throwing in that there is an ongoing community debate on whether they can be included or not. Battlescribe allows it. They have found their way into a great many tournaments over the course of 9th edition. As such, it is unlikely that you will run into any troubles running these, but it is good to be aware that strictly rules as written, a case can be made that the teleport homer is a unit upgrade rather than a model upgrade, and as a result the Proteus kill team would be locked out of that. When in doubt, always check with your TO. But anyway, out of his 4 Proteus kill teams, 2 are Clangby style with a few lightning claws added in, a third has the infamous infantry bikes, but then the 4th is certainly worth an extra look. 3 Terminators with heavy flamers, 4 Infernus heavy bolters, and a couple of power fists spread across the models to make for a solid firstborn replica of a Flamestorm Aggressor Indomitor kill team. Loving the setup. Then lastly, he just about manages to squeeze in a Spectre's kill team with 5 Incursors and Lord of Deceit, the cheapest way to run it if you want to keep the option to make use of concealed positions. Overall, a refreshing take on the Army of Renown and the War Zone Nephilim changes. I am not a fan of the 5 intercessors and specialism tags myself, but we must of course acknowledge the points constraints. But anyway, I am totally sold on the Flamer kill team for anyone looking to run a more original Indomitor replacement. Congratulations on the great result. Then finally, let's not forget about a few honorable mentions. At the 2022 Gateway Open 40k GT, Dick Johnson went 4-1, ranking 11 out of 82. At the St. Albans GT, James Fawcett went 3-1-2, ranking 11 out of 31. At the Capital City Bloodbath, Jack Rogers went 3-3, ranking 59 out of 122. What these results have in common is that they all played the tournament winning list by Mikkel Clangby. For more information on this particular list, feel free to check Mikkel's detailed tournament cover linked in the description. All in all, with these latest tournament results in mind, I disagree with the Goonhammer analysis that the Deathwatch Army of Renown is doing worse in War Zone Nephilim. While Deathwatch numbers are always swingy due to the low amount of players, and our win rate highly influenced by a handful of decent players carrying the faction, I think both Mikkel Clangby's double Indomitor list and the new Proteus kill team lists are showing decent results in a Space Marine unfriendly meta. Looking at July and August, we've had 2 tournament wins, something that did not happen in a very long time prior to War Zone Nephilim. While it is true that Deathwatch may not have benefited from War Zone Nephilim to the same extent as Blood Angels did, and both Iron Hands and Dark Angels have always been far easier to play, I think in the hands of a decent pilot, we can still easily be up there with the good Marines, not to mention that with the Long Vigil, we have a really strong secondary in some matchups that we did not have before. Anyway, my personal takeaways here are that if you build for double Indomitor, you can still get away with this kind of list for the time being, especially in case some faction secondaries are about to get nerfed, looking at Necrons and Sisters here. On the other hand, if you were looking into more firstborn oriented style of lists, both Mark Hertel and Lou Rollins came up with great new and old ways to run Proteus kill teams. Either way, I think regardless of which way you are building your list, the Spectre's kill team remains auto-include at this point and is absolutely required to play the missions well. While Last Fossil Eliminators are preferable, there are always ways to go cheaper and build around Incursors, and therefore keeping the option of concealed positions, or going cheapest with Reavers, which can be an option if you are exclusively looking to just screen your backfield. To wrap things up, over the course of the video, we have looked at Deathwatch August tournament results, including the Team Battle Brothers singles, the Leeds GT, Tables and Towers August GT, as well as the Salt Lake Open 2022 Major, followed by a few honorable mentions. What stands out here is of course Mark Hertel winning the Team Battle Brothers singles with the Deathwatch Army of Renown, bringing along a great Proteus scale team heavy list, mixing in a bit of everything, from Clangby style to infantry bikes, or even a Cyclone missile launcher and Infernus heavy bolter combo. Lou Rollins takes our Army of Renown even further and builds around teleport homers on the kill teams, as well as coming up with his very unique Flamer heavy Proteus kill team as an Indomitor replacement. Either way, I am loving the fact that the Infernus heavy bolter has made it back into the meta with both these lists and done well. Perhaps it is finally time to dust off some of these models or dive deep into the bits boxes. These Proteus kill team heavy lists aside, various iterations of Michael Clangby's GT winning list are still doing well enough in a Space Marine unfriendly meta. While Goonhammer may have rated as medium Marines only, the Army of Renown has transitioned very well into War Zone Nephilim, and we are winning a tournament once in a while on top of that. With the next balanced status slate potentially a few weeks out from here, it will be interesting to see where things are going for our Deathwatch Army of Renown. Either way, don't forget to bring along that Spectre scale team, not just my personal bias talking here of course. So that's it for the Deathwatch August tournament results and our second tournament win in War Zone Nephilim. What do you guys think about these particular lists? And do you think that the Kill Team Strike Force has any chance to win even more tournaments in the new War Zone Nephilim setting? What kind of changes are you planning for your own lists now that you have seen the rise of the Infernus Heavy Bolter? Let me know in the comments. Finally, I would also like to mention that there is a SwissHammer Facebook page where I will be posting links to my videos as well as articles I find of interest. I do read a lot about the hobby, but not all of it will always end up as its own video. I look forward to seeing you there as well. I do also have a Patreon page. If you like my content, any additional support is greatly appreciated as it helps me invest into future videos. As always, thank you very much for watching guys, your continued support is greatly appreciated. I hope you have been enjoying this video, give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks again and see you next time.